Welcome to the latest episode of Scoop on the Gloop, where as a formulation scientist I have a look at the ingredient lists of popular products. Okay, so Samantha, what you got for me this week?
Right, well, firstly, it's always nice to be called glamorous. Just put that in. So, on our last episode, we touched on hyaluronic acid, and it made us think to ourselves we wanted to look at more ingredients to do with hydration. And in this brief episode, we're going to talk about Snail Mucin and ask you what you think about that. Can it provide the same sort of hydration effects as hyaluronic acid?
The short answer is no, and that's the end of the video. No, the short answer is no, not really. Though I must say in passing that the most honour really goes to whoever in marketing came up with the name of mucin instead of slime, because snail slime I think has something of an image problem in the UK. Having said that, I'm pretty sure snail mucin does have some beneficial effects. I don't think they're great though. I think we're basically looking at the old trick of using egg white or collagen polymers or wallpaper paste. Basically, if you put a polymer on the skin which is going to dry out and shrink, that has a bit of an anti-wrinkle effect. It's not a great anti-wrinkle effect, but it's noticeable, and it's a trick that people have been using for many years. And if you put some marketing behind it, you can make it into quite a nice story. And if you've got an exotic ingredient like snail mucin to talk about, then that sort of works as a story. But I don't think it does much for actually repairing damaged moisture.
The product in question is COSRX, the the snail essence. And I was just saying to Colin that so many of us go online and talk about how we've damaged our skin barrier. I myself was one of those people. That's how I know that so many people talk about it online, because I was online after I'd used too many acids, googling why are my pores bigger, why is this, why is that, and there's other people that have done the same thing. And one of the products that people say they see good results with in repairing their skin barrier is this product. And I said to Colin, what could be in the ingredient list that's contributing to that? So we don't think it's actually the snail mucin at all that's helping people's barrier. Is there something else within the product that could be behind it?
And the answer is yes. One of the very unusual things about this product is it doesn't have glycerin in. And glycerin is a very, very common ingredient in skincare products because that has quite a strong moisturising effect. But instead they've used a reasonably closely related material called butylene glycol. I don't know what their thinking behind that is, but it's a reasonably valid choice. Butylene glycol isn't natural, whereas glycerin is. So on the whole, most people, I think, would prefer glycerin than butylene glycol, but they'll both have much the same effect. And we've also got sodium hyaluronate, which is basically hyaluronic acid. It doesn't really matter whether you're talking about the acid or the sodium salt. They're going to have much the same effect in the skin. And sodium hyaluronate is a very effective moisturiser, and it's quite good to use it in combination with glycerin because both of them work by sinking into the lower levels of the skin where they have the effect of holding moisture in. And they're very different sized molecules. The glycerin is very small, very mobile, and will move very quickly. And the hyaluronate is much larger and much more slow movement. So by having both of them together, you're actually going to get a longer lasting effect and a better effect. So that's a pretty good way of moisturising. And moisturisation really is pretty much the same as skin repair for all intents and purposes. If your skin's moisturised, it's got plenty of water in it, and that means that all the enzymes that are supposed to be there can work effectively and repair the skin under their own steam as they're designed to do. So basically, that's how you're going to repair your skin. One question that comes up quite often is, does it help to splash a bit of water on to help the moisturisation process? To which the answer is not really, because basically we're all going around with water coming from inside our bodies and out across the skin all the time. So there's a continual movement of water from the bloodstream into the dermis and then out of the skin. This is what is called transepidermal water loss by dermatologists, or TEWL is the acronym for it. And basically, if you can reduce transepidermal water loss, your skin will become moisturised. It doesn't really work to put moisture on the top of it. It doesn't really soak back in. So there's little to be gained by sort of applying toners or refresheners, or just slapping it on with a flannel. Basically, the moisturiser is going to work by grabbing moisture from within your body.
So that, I don't know if you realise how much of a myth-busting moment you've just given us there, because so many people think, with hyaluronic acid in particular, before I use it I must have just cleansed, because after an oil or a balm type cleanse my face will be wet. One of these mineral waters in a can, wet in your face, because everyone knows that hyaluronic acid is a humectant. They don't want to put it on dry skin, because they think, well, where's it going to draw that water from? It's going to dry out my skin even more. So this whole instruction of you must apply hyaluronic acid to damp skin, you're saying you don't have to follow.
On that bombshell, no.
which is a big thing, and it just goes to show how I think maybe perhaps what's happened, consumers have know they do know more now about ingredients. They know. Before, we might not have known the word humectant. People know the word humectant, what it means to draw water, and I think maybe it's gone from there. And I think then that's just spread and become as fact. You must apply on damp skin. So that is a big. But to be honest, I think a lot of people won't stop doing it, because it's hard. Even if you know it's true, it's hard to stop that in your routine. I think so many people, it would be hard now to apply a product onto dry skin, even if they know that they're allowed to. It'd be interesting to see how many people give it a try after seeing this video.
Yeah, no, there's really no point to it. I don't think it will do any harm either, though. On the whole, immersing your skin in water doesn't do much for its moisturisation, because the process of water drying off the skin itself tends to be quite drying.
I was just thinking that. Yeah, it's like another piece of advice I've just seen on social media is by a lady saying, if you want better skin, don't clean it in the mornings. Don't even splash water on your face, because it's disturbing the natural layer of oils that are produced in the night. And as you just said, if you then splash your face with water and then that evaporates, it might even be, unless you're following that up with product, that might be quite drying in itself.
I think that's a film star type level of advice, really. If your skin is so important, it has to be absolutely 100% as good as it can be, then maybe. But I don't think a bit of soap and water in the morning is going to do enough damage to do any harm, to be honest. On the other hand, if we're very rarely so grubby and dirty after a night in bed that we need to wash our faces.
That's one of the arguments she put forward, depending on how grubby, I guess, people's pillows are, bed sheets are. At the end of the day, you haven't been out and about like you are in the daytime. You're just asleep in bed. So I think if you are going to cleanse, of course you can both time AM and PM, as you've said, but the PM is the most important one.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably more important to go to bed clean than to clean yourself after being in bed.
Okay, interesting. So we've covered one of the things that I had in mind to talk about instead of hyaluronic acid. As we said in episode 2, everything seemed to be about hyaluronic acid, and we will save some of the others for subsequent videos then.
Yes, I've got more to say about hyaluronic acid, and of course there are other moisturising agents we can talk about as well.
Okay, right, so see you again to talk about them in another episode.
Okay, thanks a lot,
Yeah,
and thanks for watching.